Hello everybody, this is Tech Hut. This video is going to be a little different. I noticed on my old Newegg account I have a wish list. At the time, well, when I first noticed it, it was called My Build, but I changed it to Old Computer. And this is actually the very first build that I've ever done. This was, I believe, spring of 2014, so just about 6 years ago was my very first build. And what I wanted to do is just kind of go in memory lane, little throwback, and look at some of these computer parts and kind of see how they would hold up today, some of the other ones down there. But the very first thing you notice on here is I have a DVD drive. On the computer that I just built, this was the very first time I didn't include that. When I got this in 2014, at the time they were still kind of not necessary, but I was in the habit of burning software and things of that nature to DVD discs and CDs, and really unnecessary for the time. And the case was kind of odd too, because you can see this, it has no drives, but if you opened up the door I would be able to then access that, so you had to like open it up like it's a cabinet just to get to your DVD drive and whatever else you had going on there. And this case, by the way, was the I mean, it's a beautiful case. It's out of stock, unfortunately, so they don't sell it anymore, probably because of the reason what I'm about to mention, is the airflow was terrible. You can see right here there's a vent along the side, and then that's the intake, so the air would pull through there. It'd have to go through this thick mesh and then go through here, and that's where the fans were, and they would work hard. You could hear them ramping up all the time whenever it hit up you. It was something else. Granted, the case was beautiful and it swiveled open, so you didn't have to like pop it off of these. It was nice and had all these hard drive bays, which I really didn't use. I just had an old hard drive, not even screwed in, kind of sitting there, which is kind of what I'm doing with my current build. I have an old laptop hard drive in there on top of my little M.2. But the case was awesome. After a while, the buttons did start to kind of like not stop working, but they would get loose and things like that. So I understand why they stopped selling this. It looks a lot better than it is, and I learned that about a year after I purchased it. Going on down to the video card. At the time, this was a very mid-range graphics card. It was 2 gigabytes of 192-bit, and it ran, it's a GeForce GTX 660. Right now I have a very low budget graphics card, the 1650, which is still substantially better than this one. But at the time, the only thing I really did was play Minecraft, and as long as it could run shaders every once in a while, that's all I really cared about. And it has a HDMI port. That was my primary concern, because the graphics card I had before that only had VGA, so that was a definite bonus. Going on down to the Western Digital Black spinning disk drive. I use this for backup storage, which it's only a 500 gigabyte. I don't know how I made it by with a 500 gigabyte as my big bulk backup storage, but I did, and Western Digital is great. I currently have a M.2 Western Digital Black in my current build, so they've kind of earned my loyalty over the years, because any time I've ever had a Western Digital, it's performed very well. Now this is a little bit different. It's the Critical Ballistic Sport low profile desktop memory. Now I honestly have no idea why I got this. I thought it was cool because like it was plugged in and you barely even noticed it was there. And it's literally the exact opposite of what I have now. My RAM is very noticeable in my system, but this low-key, you barely even knew it was there. It is a 1600 megahertz, so if I put it in my current build, it would be catastrophic. It wouldn't even work because it's DDR3, and I have a DDR4. But yeah, that's the one I got. It was rather odd. When I first opened it, when I bought it, I was surprised how small it was, and it clipped in just like a little. It was almost comical because you can see that the little pins here are probably a sixth of the total size of the entire thing. So that was interesting to say the least. And then the motherboard. When I first built this, I had no idea what I was doing. So the only things I made sure was, one, the most important thing, because I had an open case, well, an open windowed case, is it looked fairly good. It had some sort of accents. It was all black, had a little bit of blue, because I ended up putting like a little blue LED in there eventually off to the side. That was like a little IKEA battery powered one. And I made sure that it fit my 4th gen Intel, the LGA 1150 socket. Which it did all that. I did later make a mistake because I ended up needing to get this little Wi-Fi adapter. And actually this right here, was my boot drive. It was the Intel 530 2.5 240 gigabyte SATA SSD. I got it because it has the super cool sticker that I put on the side of my computer, the Speed Demon Intel sticker, and it just looked cool. I mostly bought it because of the sticker right here, and it says Intel. And at the time I was thinking, oh, Intel's a good brand. I think people know about it. And it was cheaper than the Western Digital one, and I was working on a very tight budget. And this right here, this power supply is essentially almost the exact same one I bought now. If I go ahead and open up one of these tabs here, oh, actually there it is, perfect. This is the one I bought, so you can see they're both the same brand. They got a different model name, but they are both 650 watt, 80 plus gold, fully modular. This was my old one, 650 gold plus full modular. So I went with what I knew with my latest build 6 years later and got basically the exact same thing. And then brings us down to our processor. This is the Intel i5 4670K Haswell. I didn't need this because I never ended up overclocking it. I was too scared to. I didn't want to fry it, and I just used the little fan that came with it. So I got the K to overclock it, but I never actually did. This is a quad core, so that was super cool because the computer I had before that was a dual core. I think it was an i3 2nd gen, I believe. And going from a dual core i5 to a quad core, I mean dual core i3 to a quad core i5 was a huge jump. So that's what I had. It was super cool. The first time I installed it, it was absolutely terrifying. I did not like holding a CPU, just did not trust myself. And I already showed you this, but I ended up needing to get this little Wi-Fi adapter because I thought my motherboard had it, but it didn't, and that's probably because I didn't read anything past the socket. So that was my very first computer build ever. The reason I'm uploading this is kind of a precursor to the video I'm going to be uploading later, probably within the next couple weeks, which will be going over my current video editing machine build, which costs roughly $1,000. It was a little bit more because I splurged on a couple things. But stay tuned for that video. Subscribe and ring the bell to not miss that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below with your very first computer build. Whether if you want to put a whole parts list, tell me what your very first processor was, very first graphics card, a little story about it, anything, please leave those down below. I hope you have a great day, and goodbye.